Hey yo, how you guys doing? I hope you guys had a good time hanging out the past 2 weeks celebrating Easter with Jedi John. But Pastor John's back here to hang out with you guys, and we're going to continue talking about the armor of God. If you guys don't remember, if kind of forgot, need a reminder, I'm going to remind you guys about the armor of God, the two pieces that we learned about. I want to talk about putting on the armor of godliness today. That's what we're going to be talking about. But first, remember, when we're talking about the armor of God, we're imagining like we're in the city. We can't go to a city right now, so this is the next best thing. We're going to imagine we're in the city. We're going to talk to my friend JoJo. She's going to go around. You're going to see the people that she interviewed, the amazing people in the city. But first, I feel like one of the best ways to get around in the city is the fun bus. Because on the fun bus, we get to play some games. So let's get on the fun bus and play our game for today.
Alright guys, hop aboard the fun bus and we're going to play today's game. Today's game's called Hidden Emoji. Here's how it's going to go. I'm going to give you guys two possible emojis that are hidden in the picture. You got to find one of those emojis in the picture. It's going to be hidden. Alright, so here comes your picture right now. Alright, this is going to be kind of tough, guys. It's either a pizza or a hot dog. I'm going to give you guys a hint. If you can't find it about halfway through. Okay, here's your hint. Look on the taxis. Look at the taxis. It's somewhere around there. Where could it be? 3, 2, 1. Right there. Ooh, that was a hidden pizza right there. That was kind of tough. All right, next one's tough too. So let's see it right now. All right, I'll give you guys a hint in a few seconds. Try finding it on your own. Look real closely. It's either a bus or a water fountain. Alright, I'll give you a hint. It's next to the tallest building in the picture. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, right down there. That's not a normal place for a fountain. Alright, let's see the next picture now. It's either a coffee cup or a waving hand. Interesting. Alright, look near the darkest car. The car that's the darkest color. It's right above it. It's really hidden. This one's tough. 3, 2, 1. There it is. Perfectly camouflaged. Alright guys, that's our game for today. Let's head back over.
Nice job finding those emojis, guys. You did great. Alright, so, like I said, we've been continuing our talk about the armor of God. So, a couple weeks ago, we started out talking about what's the armor of God and why it's important to know about it and to put it on every day. Then we talked about the first piece, which was putting on the belt of truth. Today, we're talking about putting on the armor of godliness. We're going to see how important it is and the ways that it helps us in every situation of our lives. So, like I sent down my friend JoJo when we were still able to go outside. She went around, she was interviewing everyone around the city and looking for people with special talents using the armor of God for God's glory and to help them in their everyday lives. So we're going to see this guy. He has a really cool talent and he needed the armor of godliness to get through a really tough situation that he was facing. Let's check it out now.
Everyone, it's Joe on the Go, and I'm Joe Miller, coming to you live each and every day as I take to the streets to give you all the deets. Today is going to be shredded! We're going to catch up with professional skateboarder Carter Collins. How cool is that? Check out what we're all about today. Carter?
What's up, Joe? I'm so stoked to see you.
Those tricks were killer.
Oh, yeah? You saw that triple set trick with an ollie slide?
I think so. Whatever it's called, those moves are so crazy. Did it take you forever and a day to learn how to do all of that?
I was born to shred, but definitely spent a lot of time learning the tricks of the trade.
And I bet everyone thinks you are so cool. In fact, I have done some research.
As a reporter does.
Well, and I found out that you have at least 50 different proteges. For the people on the other side of the camera, explain what that means.
Sure. Well, a protege is just a fancy word for people who think that what you do is rad and they want to learn from you.
That's beyond cool that so many people are wanting to follow your lead. How did that even happen?
I've been skating for a long time, and I started hanging out with some other dudes that love to skate too. I was chilling with them, and then I started to notice that they were doing and saying some things that were the opposite of cool.
Oh, really? Explain for us what was going down.
Yeah, so here's an example. I was doing a tray flip down a 3-stair, right? And when I was done, I noticed some of the guys were over there by the quarter pipe saying some straight up bad words.
Ooh, that is not good. What'd you do about that scene?
It got pretty gnarly. The newer guys started following along. It started with bad words and stuff and eventually got way worse. They were excluding others and messing with different skaters' equipment, tons of stuff that God wouldn't be cool with. Negative influence all over the place.
Sounds like that was not top tier.
You're right. And I had a choice to make. I could take my board and bail, or I could join in and act like they do. I could either fit in, or I could take a stand for what was right.
It can be so hard to stand up and do the right thing. I've actually been reporting about the armor of God lately, and Carter, this whole sitch sounds like a perfect opportunity to put on the armor of godliness. That's the piece that protects our hearts from wanting to do the wrong thing while helping us have the power to do the right thing. I'm sure everyone is dying to know. What did you end up doing?
It was hard to take a stand against those guys. I mean, they were pretty cool, and I wanted them to like me and I wanted them to skate with me. But I remembered that the devil uses other people that can be bad influences to turn our hearts away from God. Because I wanted to do what God says is right, I put on the armor of godliness and took a stand against the devil. I talked to those dudes, and you know what? It ended up being cooler than a 1080 flip. They realized that what they were doing was wrong, and they changed their ways.
So by taking a stand and doing what was right, they saw how they should act out here at the park. And now they follow your lead. Awesome! Hey Carter, thanks for hanging with us today and showing us exactly what the armor of godliness looks like in action.
Totally.
Well, that's it for us today. Join us next time for Joe on the Go. I can't wait to see who we will meet next.
Dang, that was a crazy situation. First of all, that guy is super talented. I wish I had some kind of talent like that. Believe it or not, I really don't have a whole lot. I mean, I can talk a lot, and I can make a fool out of myself, but can't really do much other than that. But I want to talk about the situation he faced where he needed the armor of godliness. And I'm going to ask you guys a few questions. But first, I want to know, what are some talents you guys have? Any talents you have that's something that you love to do, I want you to shout it out now. Shout it out. Yell it loud enough, maybe I can hear you. Yes, Giuseppe, we know you're good at football. Yes, Eli, you do karate. Very, very true. All right, I'm hearing some of you. Some of you are yelling loud enough. I can hear some of you guys. All right, so now that you guys shout out some of yours, I'm going to see if some of my friends have any talents that they want to share with you guys.
Once again, I must tell you, I am a dog who speaks English. Is this not enough for you? I speak. Oh. Well, if you must know, I do have one other talent. It's really quite amazing. I'll show you right now. You see, my talent is that I can go on my back and completely flip myself around. This isn't working. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I got a really good talent. My talent is I could just stare at you and never look away. Watch. You see it? I'm doing it. Are you impressed, Father? I could just stare and stare and stare.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I mean, since I can do anything, I have many talents. I can even fly. What, don't believe me? Watch this. Here I come. Woo-hoo! Impressed?
Not so sure that was flying, more like falling with style. This house is clearly a little barren of any talent. So I'm hoping you guys got some talent out there. I know you guys do. I've seen all the awesome stuff you guys do in person and on Facebook. I know that the kids at Access Kids are ultra talented kids, and they can relate to situations like this guy went through, right? I mean, every single one of us have probably faced situations where people that we think are cool or our friends were doing stuff that we know God wouldn't approve of. So I want to see how much you guys are paying attention. I'm going to ask you guys a couple questions right now.
All right, guys, question 1. What piece of armor did Carter talk about in the video? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. What did he talk about? 3, 2, 1, and the answer is the armor of godliness. If you got it, good job, guys, right? He talked about the armor of godliness that helped him in the situation that he faced. All right, let's see the next question. What did Carter say the armor of godliness helped him do? Did it help him fight off his enemies? Did it help him put them in his place? What did it help him do in general? Let's think. 3, 2, 1. The answer is it helped him to do the right thing, right? Because the armor of godliness helps us to resist saying no to bad things and saying yes to the right thing to do. Nice job, guys. All right, question 3. Where do we learn what God says is right? The armor of godliness helps us want to do the right thing, but where do we learn where the right thing is to do? 3, 2, 1. The Bible. If you guys got it, nice job. The Bible's the ultimate place to go if we want to know what the right thing to do is. All right, let's head back over.
Nice job, guys. You did awesome answering those questions. You guys were definitely paying attention. I can tell because, I heard you guys. So, we know that the Bible tells us what is right to do and what is wrong to do. And we know now that the armor of godliness helps us to want to do the right thing. How many of us, if we're being honest, don't always want to do the right thing? Sometimes doing the right thing can get kind of annoying. It can be kind of tough. And it means you have to give up something you may want to do or want to have. Whatever it is, it's not always going to be easy to do the right thing. So that's why the armor of godliness is so important to put over our hearts. Even though we can't see it, it's so important and so powerful to put over our hearts because it helps our hearts want to do the right thing and it protects us from doing the wrong thing. So that's how important the armor of godliness is. So I want to remind you guys of all the armors of God, all the pieces of the armor that we have to put on. So I want you guys to look at the screen right now and you're going to look at all the pieces of the armor of God. All right, so you guys see how many are there? You guys remember? If you can't remember, just look at the screen. Take a second. There's 6. Nice job, right? The first piece of what we talked about already is the belt of truth. Then there's the armor of godliness, the good news boots, then the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit. All right, so this is now our second piece of the armor of God. So we got to look at our need to know for today. This is what we got to remember for the week. And this is our main thing that we have to know. So when I say put on, I want you to put your arms across your chest like this. All right? And when I say the armor of godliness, I want you to pat your heart like this. All right, so put on and pat your heart. All right, everyone stand up. Take a look at the need to know. It says put on the armor of God. Put on the armor of godliness. Put on the armor of godliness. All right, guys, you got it. Nice job. Now I see we have a little bit of time of worship, and this song's gonna help us remember to put on our armor of God.
Put on the full armor of God. Stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God. The full armor of God. First things first, got the belt of truth. Ayo, ayo. Put on my boots, gotta tell the good news. Ayo, ayo. The armor of God and the shield of faith. Got my sword and my helmet, now it's time to pray. Ayo, ayo. I put on the full armor of God. Stand strong against the evil one. I put on the full armor of God. The full armor of God. First things first, you got the belt of truth. Ayo, ayo. Put put on my boots, I gotta tell the good news. The armor of God and the shield of faith. Got my sword and my helmet, now it's time to pray. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. Now in faith we can stand against every evil plan. Now it's time to be strong. He has won. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God. Put on the full armor of God, stand strong against the evil one. Put on the full armor of God, the full armor of God.
One. Nice singing, guys. All right, so now that we got worship, now we got that song in our head to remind us about the armor of God, I think we should take a look at what the Bible says about how important it is to put on our armor of godliness. Let's check out this Bible story right now.
God's people, the Israelites, had disobeyed God. Because of that, God allowed their enemies, the Midianites, to come and take over their land. The Israelites were so scared of the Midianites that they went and hid in caves. The Israelites needed help, so they prayed to God and asked Him to help them. The Bible tells us that God sent an angel to talk to a man named Gideon. Gideon was hiding in the caves too, because he was also afraid of the Midianites. The angel greeted Gideon by saying, "Mighty warrior, the Lord is with you." Gideon knew how badly he and his people had been treated. He said to the angel, "You say the Lord is with us. Then why has all of this happened?" The angel said, "You are strong. Go and save Israel." Gideon didn't agree with what the angel was saying. How can I possibly save Israel? I'm not strong or important. But God promised to be with Gideon and to give him victory. Later that night, God spoke to Gideon and told him to tear down the altar that was built to one of the false gods named Baal, and the pole that was built to worship the false god Asherah. Gideon was supposed to build the right kind of altar, where people could worship the one true God. Even though Gideon was scared, he believed that God would protect him and he could do the right thing. So Gideon waited until it was nighttime and then went out and did exactly what God told him to do. When everyone woke up the next morning, they could not believe their eyes. The altar to Baal was demolished and the Asherah pole was cut down. In its place was a new altar for worshiping the one true God. God used Gideon to do great things and gave him the power he needed even when he was scared. Sometimes it can be scary or hard to do what's right. That's because even though we can't see it, there's a spiritual battle taking place between God and the devil over the hearts of each person on earth. God has given us His armor to protect us and gives His power in the middle of this battle. When we put on the armor of godliness, it will protect our hearts from wanting to do the wrong thing and give us the power to do what's right. We can put on the armor of godliness.
Isn't that an amazing story, guys? You see, Gideon was in a really tough situation, and we all saw that he was really scared, right? He knew what the right thing to do was, and he knew what God was calling him to do, but without the armor of godliness around his heart, he probably wouldn't have been able to do it. He probably would have given in to what everyone wanted him to do, but instead, he stood up for God and did what was right. You see, that's why we need the armor of godliness so bad, because if we want to stand up and do what's right for God and make sure that we're following Him and we're doing our best to put a smile on His face, then we have to have that armor of godliness around our hearts, because it's not always going to be easy to do what's right. Sometimes the thing that's the right thing to do is the hardest thing to do. Sometimes the right thing to do is something that we know other people may not like, but we know it's the right thing. It's not always going to be the most popular decision. The right thing can be really tough sometimes, and that's why we need the armor of godliness to help us come through in those situations and to avoid temptations of doing the wrong thing in times where the wrong thing seems like the best thing to do or the thing that everyone wants us to do. You know, that's what it means to be a Christian. That's what it means to have the armor of God and to stand up against what the world says is right. What's that? Oh, sorry, the dog's got a question.
So what you're saying is the armor of godliness will help us from yelling at the people who walk in front of the house, even if we really, really want to do it.
Yes, don't get me wrong, I really want to yell at them, but I'm starting to think maybe it's not the nicest thing, and maybe the armor of godliness will help us to stop doing that, because I don't think I like getting yelled at.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, if you're protecting the house, it's one thing, but, you know, if you're just doing it because you think that's what you should do and you're just barking for no reason, yeah, it's probably not too nice, guys. I'm going to be honest. All right, so now that we learned how important the armor of godliness is to put on our hearts, we need a memory verse to help us remind us to put on our armor of God. So let's check that out right now.
Okay, so our memory verse is Ephesians 6:11. Put on all of God's armor, then you can remain strong against the devil's evil plans. One more time. Put on all of God's armor, then you can remain strong against the devil's evil plans. Ephesians 6:11.
All right, guys, now that you were reminded to put on your armor of God, you got your armor of godliness, you know how important it is, and you got your memory verse, that's about all the time we got left for today. So I'll see you guys on Tuesday at Going Crazy at Home with Pastor John. See you guys later.